Good evening. I'm Larry Stevens, Director of Freedom's Right and International Programs at Penn American Center. As many of you know, Penn was founded just after the First World War on the principle that discussions among writers from different countries and cultures can reduce the kinds of tensions that lead to such catastrophic conflicts. That we are all here tonight is largely because of our commitment to that principle. A commitment we share with the American Association of University Professors and the American Academy of Religion, our co-plaintiffs in the lawsuit challenging the exclusion of Tariq Ramadan from the United States, and of course with the ACLU, which so brilliantly argued our case. On behalf of the AAUP and the American Academy of Religion, and all the members of Penn American Center, I want to thank Jamil Jaffer, Melissa Goodman, and everyone else at the ACLU who defended our right as Americans to hear a full range of voices and ideas, and our ability as Penn to carry out our work. "20 years ago, next month, Larry McMurtry, who was then the president of Penn American Center, testified before Congress about the dangers of excluding those whose views our government disfavors from the United States. Emphasizing the importance Penn assigns to discussions such as the one we will have this evening, McMurtry said, "Because we are writers, we know that reading one another's work is vital, but we also know that meeting one another face-to-face in free discussion and debate is vital too. As readers of foreign books, we respond strongly to the truths inherent in all serious literature. We try hard to remain sensitive to the social and cultural subtleties that are apt to be lost in translation. But when we meet, the dialogue that ensues both expands and clarifies the perceptions and experiences we have in common. With hope and goodwill, we begin to forge common perspectives. Such nourishing exchanges might have once been deemed the luxuries of intellect, cultural peace, if you will. Today, in a world of truly international dependencies, these meetings are more than luxuries. They are moral imperatives." At the time, McMurtry was talking about the effects of the McCarran-Walter Act, which kept many of the world's leading writers out of the United States because of their allegedly communist or socialist views. Our lawsuit challenging the ban on Professor Ramadan was a response to the new waves of exclusions after 9/11, in which scores of prominent international writers and activists had their visas canceled and were barred from entering the U.S. We are extremely grateful to Secretary of State Hillary Clinton for reviewing Professor Ramadan's case and making it possible for all of us to be here this evening. We will be working with the AAUP, the ACLU, and the administration to make sure other post-9/11 exclusions are also reviewed and reversed. I do feel a little bit freer this evening. Tonight's topic is timely and serious, but this event is also a celebration. I'm going to turn this over to Jamil now, but before I do, I have to thank Cooper Union and our co-sponsors, the ACLU and the American Association of University Professors, and Slate for making tonight's program possible. Thanks to Jacob Weisberg and our outstanding panelists, and many, many thanks to all of you for your patience and for joining us this evening. Thanks to all of you for joining us today. I'm Jamil Jaffer, the Director of the ACLU National Security Project. That Tariq Ramadan is in the United States at all is a testament to the advocacy and commitment of three different organizations: the American Academy of Religion, the American Association of University Professors, and Penn American Center. 6 years ago, the Bush administration revoked Professor Ramadan's visa and effectively banned him from the United States. With the help of the ACLU, the three organizations I mentioned brought a lawsuit under the First Amendment to challenge the ban. An appeals court eventually rejected the Bush administration's basis for the ban, and as Larry said, earlier this year, Secretary of State Hillary Clinton signed an order that lifted the ban altogether. If not for the lawsuit that three American organizations filed several years ago, this evening's discussion wouldn't be taking place at all. At the end of this evening, we can all decide for ourselves whether what Tariq Ramadan has to say is persuasive or unsettling or even infuriating. But we should take a moment to appreciate that we can decide for ourselves.
One point for the First Amendment is to create a political space in which we can discuss and debate issues of public concern without government interference or censorship. Tonight's discussion takes place within that protected political space. In many other countries, that space doesn't exist at all. It's the government that decides which ideas get heard. It's the government that decides which ideas are worthwhile and which ones aren't. We have the opportunity, and in fact, we have the constitutionally protected right to decide for ourselves. And we have this right because organizations like AAR, AAUP, and PEN American Center protect and defend that right. On behalf of the ACLU, I'd like to thank those three organizations, as well as the Cooper Union, Slate Magazine, and all of the panelists. And it's now my pleasure to introduce Jacob Weisberg, Chairman of Slate Group.
I want to thank Jaleel for the introduction. I want to welcome everyone here tonight. And I want to thank PEN and the ACLU and the American Association of University Professors for doing the work that made tonight's event possible, both over the past several years in pressing the suit to allow Professor Ramadan to enter the country and organizing the event tonight. I'm going to very quickly introduce our panelists so we can get down to it, and then I want to explain a few things about the format, and we'll start right in. To begin, at the far end, George Packer is a writer for The New Yorker. He's the author of several books, including his most recent collection, Interesting Times. Dahlia Mogahed works for the Gallup Organization. She's the co-author of the book entitled Who Speaks for Islam? Professor Ramadan needs no introduction. I think you all know who he is. Joan Wallach-Scott, a sociologist, and historian, I'm getting and she's at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton. She's also the author of the book, The Politics of the Veil, and she is the former chairman of the Academic Freedom Committee of the American Association of University Professors. Now, as I think you all know, this is Professor Ramadan's first appearance in front of a United States audience before he was denied a visa by the Bush administration, which, as Jaleel and Larry were saying, denied all of us a chance to hear from him directly for a period of years. So the focus tonight is going to be on him and his views. And here's the format we've all agreed to for tonight's discussion. Professor Ramadan is going to give some opening remarks for about 10 minutes. Then I'm going to give each of our panelists 5 to 10 minutes to respond to his remarks, ask him questions. We may ask each other some questions. Then I'm going to take around 10 minutes to ask him some questions myself. We're going to save a half an hour at the end for questions from all of you in the audience. And here's how we're going to do it. David asked if you had pens and paper. The reason for that is we want you to write your questions down, and we want you to pass them to the aisle. And the time to pass them to the aisle and give them to the people who will be collecting them is when George Packer, who's going to go last, finishes his 10 minutes, and when I'm starting my 10 minutes. So the questions will all be collected. They'll be brought up here. I'll remind you, don't worry, that's too confusing. But the point is you have some time, but in about 55 minutes into the event, we're going to collect all the questions. They'll be brought up to me, and I will read them. And I will not select them on the basis of what the questions are. I will merely select them on the basis of which are the pithiest and most legible. So that's your challenge here. I want to say, I know this is going to be an excellent audience, I can tell already, but let me remind you to turn off your cell phone. I want to appeal to everyone to listen respectfully tonight. That means please hold your applause if you possibly can.